that are here have to come here. They pay us to be here. A lot of the people that are here used to get paid to be here, so we'd like to welcome all of them. So we're all here to open up the time capsule that the lid was put down in 1996. So just to refresh our memories for those of us who have been around those 20 years, number one song, Spice Girls. Yeah. I heard Shad playing that coming in. Atlanta hosted the Olympics in 1996. If you had a browser on your computer, it was Netscape Navigator. Remember Dolly the sheep, the first one that was cloned? 1996. Oprah started her famous book club back in 96. And the must-have for Christmas in 1996, Tickle Me Elmo. So that was all in 1996. And so I'm going to turn it over to Barry to talk a little bit. But what we're going to do, because it's kind of tight right there, we're going to pop the lid. Keith Ashlock and Carol Floyd were all in the small group of folks that are still here that loaded the thing way back when. So Keith and Carol are going to help unload it, and then we'll bring the cart out here and talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's on it. So that's kind of the plan for the day. So, Barry?
So thanks everyone. I want to welcome you all to the opening of our time capsule 20 years later. We'll see how much life and business at the lottery has changed, or maybe it hasn't. Who knows? We'll see when we get in there. But I want to give a special welcome to all the former lottery employees who are joining us today. And as a relatively new member of the family, forgive me if I don't recognize you, but welcome back to the family. And I want to give a special welcome to a couple of our former directors, Larry Neiswander and Dan Simmons, who were able to join us today. So thank you and welcome back. It's a pretty special job being the director of this great organization, and I'm thrilled to have been here for the opening of this time capsule. I think it'll be a great fun to see what's in there, and then have some conversations about what we're going to put in there for the next 20 years. So,
okay. One more thing. So, total transparency now.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a list of all the items in a folder. Probably Marlene had it, and then she gave it to me. But it had all the things that included a VHS. So, under the cover of darkness, Steve Stiers popped the lid, pulled out the VHS, so we could see if we could even watch it. And so we have digitized that, so yes, indeed, we can watch it. So when we're done here, refreshments are in the Pacific room, and we'll watch the video. And the most fun part about the video is seeing the people that are still here 20 years ago. Most of us look the same, but so we're going to load stuff onto it. And I got to thank David Papp for this, onto the Capsule Artifact Recovery Transport, aka CART. So we'll load that up now and see what's in there. Steve? Hopefully Steve didn't take everything out when he opened it up before.
Hopefully you put it back in. It's not even full.
Can use some bigger, I'll tell you what. Steve, do you want to hand stuff to these guys? Would you mind? Would you hand stuff to Carol?
What are you saying? I can't kneel down anymore?
I'm not saying that.
there's a little bit of dust. Luckily, things were put in protective wrapping, but here's what's on the cart. Several notebooks. The first is the book describing the startup of the Oregon Lottery. The second notebook is the marketing plan. Mark Strickler, I hope you study that carefully. Two notebooks of 1985 press releases, news articles, etc. There's a notebook on instant games. There are samples of instant tickets and information, how-to plays and play slips. There's an instant ticket poster. I'm guessing that's what this is. Annual reports, newsletters, annual comparison of key data and Oregon Wins brochures, retailer services booklet, the 1985 computer mouse, and backup circuit card. This is the mouse. In 20 years, they'll be saying nothing to us. There's some promo items, some photo albums, a story from the Statesman Journal on move-in day, out of the old and into the new video, which we'll be watching, and a tribute to Deb's article from the Grants Pass Daily Courier. There is also a letter written by the director at the time, which I can't open, but I'll read through this. September 11th, 1996. Dear Oregon Lottery staff, welcome to the past. As you read this letter, it will have been 20 years since we placed the sampling of items from the Oregon's lottery first decade into the time capsule. Hopefully we won't have a typo in the first sentence of the next letter. We hope you enjoy stepping back briefly into our part of its history and that you find your time with the Oregon Lottery as exciting, fun, and rewarding as we do in 1996. Who knows, maybe some of us will still be here in 2016 to share this moment with you. By now, this building will no longer be viewed as your new home, but today that is what it is to us. It represents the first time in many years that we are all united in a single location instead of being spread out all over Salem. For us, this is a truly momentous occasion and cause for great celebration. When the Oregon Lottery began in 1985, it started with about a dozen people and grew to nearly 100 by the end of its first year. Today, we are over 350 strong and still growing. At the end of its first full fiscal year, the lottery had earned just over $28 million. Last year, fiscal year 96, we had earnings of 10 times that amount, $285 million, with over $1.2 billion in total transfers for job creation, economic development, and public education since we first began. That $1.2 billion is an oddly familiar number, but it represents a different period of our revenue these days. These are interesting times for us, and I have no doubt they are for you too. We are facing unprecedented competition from Indian gaming centers while trying to balance our statutory mandate to earn maximum revenues commensurate with the public good. As we enter our second decade, we have renewed our commitment to customer service and to ensuring that Oregon Lottery games are the games of choice for our players and retailers. I can't even begin to guess what you are facing, but I am absolutely confident that the Oregon Lottery of 2016 has the best people possible and that they can succeed under any set of circumstances. If I were to offer any advice, it is this: honor the past, challenge the present, envision the future. These words have served us well so far, and I believe they will work for you in 2016. Sincerely, Chris Lyons, Director, on behalf of all 1996 Oregon Lottery staff.
So Chris talked a lot about this being a new building. I was chatting with Dan Simmons, who was, well, the last director prior to Chris, before he moved in. He was kind of giving me the lowdown on perhaps how he helped get the building going. So Dan, you want to share that?
Okay, sure. Barry indicated the rapid revenue growth that occurred way back when. And I got right on the first tidal wave of that growth. And the lottery was evolving from a little boutique agency that was kind of a fun little pot of money for the legislature to a mainstay of the state general fund. And what had happened was that it had grown so fast that the infrastructure didn't come along with it. I arrived and there was one computer, a prototype computer. That means that's one of a kind. That was about the size of that front door square, literally. And it sat on a concrete floor in the old Morrow Crane building, which was 4 feet below the flood stage. Not the 100-year flood stage, but the 10-year flood stage. So we got evacuation pumps and a lot of sandbags and stuff, and then I went down to talk to the governor and I said, we've got to do something, because if this thing shorts out, there will be hell to pay. And her chief of staff jumped all over me. What do you want to do? Go build another damn building for? Because I'd built a bunch of them. And I said, just send somebody out to visit the place and I'll show you. He came out and spent about 2 days and then ran back to Capsule and said, you got to do something about this right now. And so Debs Potts and I, right before I retired in '95, we met with Governor Kitzhaber and gave him a briefing and brought him up to speed on various things having to do with the lottery. And then we said, oh, by the way, you've got to put a building in your budget. And he did. And that's why it was built the next year in 1996. So that's a little bit of it.
All right, so we're going to migrate into the Pacific room. We're going to put this, there's a table along the back wall there. We're going to spread all this stuff out so you guys can look at it as well. There's cake. Thank you, Life Committee, for the cake and refreshments. We'll go in, you can get some cake, and then eventually we'll fire up the video and see what clothing and eyewear was back in 1996. So I'm going to head back that way. What did you say, Beth Lloyd?
I just wanted to say hi and happy 20 years. Lindsay, will we be here in 20 years? Lindsay Hamilton?
Lindsay Hamilton, okay.
Hi. So, did anyone get a unit of you? Sean Stanley.
Hello, future.
Pick 4 Productions, our
We
director.
still don't have a logo though.
Okay.
And Beth is responsible for that, by the way.
All right, well, we'll get it. Will not be here in 20 years.